So what we're going to do today, last episode we made the fingerings of, we started to make fingerings of the sixth Sinfonia. I finished that. I will be playing that piece for the first time. Almost for the first time. I did have a look, of course, and go through that a few times and then share with you some really difficult passages. You know that we started the sixth Sinfonia last week by saying, or I started by saying, that E major is a rather easy key to play in the sense that it's really fitting the keyboard very well. But Bach makes it very complicated, and we'll go through that. And there are definitely some passages that need our attention, and I will point you. And I must say that I'm not finished with that piece at all. So that we did last week, we played some of the first Sinfonia and we practiced the second one, the C minor, excuse me. So today we're going through that sixth one together, then start with making fingerings of the seventh and practicing number 2, 3 and 4, how far do we come. So these sessions, for those of you who are new to these episodes, they last about 45-50 minutes. Please leave your questions in the chat if something is not clear to you. If I say some stupid things, that's for sure you have to react. And maybe I'll ask you something as well, because we'll go through the second Sinfonia and there are things that are really difficult. And again, hello Martin, good evening to you as well. So as I said last week and the weeks before, this is not a concert. I would do it very different if I would play these pieces on a concert already. These are performance sessions, so that means that I'm a little bit on the back side of the music and I listen with you. If you perform, you have to go a step forward and you have to go in front of the music, so you have to lead the music, and that's not what I'm going to do today. It might happen, some beautiful moments happened in the previous sessions as well, and those moments are special because the music is taking over then. So same setup as last week. I will just make myself a little bit smaller. You see, it's really advanced technology here, with a great sense of irony. But it's actually incredible what we are able to do today. Okay, I hope you see the complete sixth Sinfonia with the fingerings, and I just play it 1 or 2 times and then very slowly and share with you some tricky parts. Okay, there we go. Okay, for those of you who are new here, you know that making fingerings is something that I think I can speak for all of us. It's something we sometimes skip, and certainly with Bach's music we shouldn't, because it's new music for me. But just having made a good fingering, or a fingering that works, and I really practice that fingering in the sense that I read it, so I'm trying to play, actually I do play the fingering that I've written down. It accelerates the practicing process enormously. So and the other element is really key. I cannot repeat that enough, and it is on every level. I don't know, of course, the level of you all. Some might be professional players, some might be just amateur players, very good. I don't know. We have all different levels, but it doesn't matter, in a sense that when you're practicing, you should play slower than you can read the notes. That sounds so simple and so obvious, but think about that when you're practicing, how often that the music is really taking you forward, and it's taking all of your attention, and eventually it should, but in the beginning the notes require the attention, really. So I was talking about some really awkward places here, and there's a lot to be told on this piece, but that we're going to do when we are going to practice that. I will oh, that's an ugly word. I will shift, that was what I'm going to say, in my live studio here to the other view, which is one click. So on the 18th century copy clavichord with modern technology. So I can share with you some of these difficulties. One of them is here. So there's also in the link, a download link for the score if you want to follow it full screen, but it starts here. The left hand is really difficult there. So I'm playing on the black notes, on the upper notes, also with the first finger, and you will, those of you who have read J.S.BACH, he kind of says not to do that, but here is no escape from that. And it's no problem as long as you have to play a lot of upper notes and your hand position can be okay, then it's okay. So just say hello to Omega Kid and a very difficult name, Miguel and Melinus. Okay, people I know from the YouTube channels. Nice. So, but then comes the left hand, and you're playing on the upper notes, and then you have to go to the A sharp here, again a jump, so, and why is that so awkward? You have to, with playing on these old keyboards, it's very essential that you keep your hand in the kind of position that is really not opening it. But here it's difficult. Here I have to play this F sharp with my hello George, with my second finger. Watch what happens when I play it with my first finger. I have to turn my hand, and I can't see it very well from that position, but I have to turn my hand, and I cannot escape from pressing the note much further on the key, which is really not nice. On the clavichord, very difficult, but on any instrument you will have not the sound quality you want. And furthermore, you have to jump to the A sharp. So if you play the F sharp with your first finger, and if you're a pianist, you will know that many of them do. On the piano it's okay. But then you really go on the key almost to the edge of the key, and that's something that doesn't work. Yeah. The problem with me is I adjust my touch automatically. I cannot. You hear it. So the more you stay on the edges of the notes, and you remember, piano teachers as well, old maybe a little bit old-fashioned, but very good piano teachers, they tend to have a pencil on your keyboard just to prevent your fingers from going too far. And the only thing is because the sound quality, also on the grand piano or the modern piano, benefits from that. But here, I want to keep this hand position as long as I can. So I have to jump to the A sharp, and then I have fourth finger. There's no other way, because if I would play with the third finger, then I have to play the D sharp with my first finger, which I really would like to avoid. Again, for the same reason. So I'm a little bit sticked with these 3-4 fingers. With the thumb, the first finger is not giving me the flexibility to make jumps. So after release, second finger on the D sharp, I should write it. I do it automatically, but and then I go to 5. I have to skip my fourth finger because I have to replace position for the new for the G sharp. It's impossible with the 4. It's possible, but I mean it's very difficult, because then I have to shift on the B, which is in the middle of this figure, and I want to have, if I have to, no, let me rephrase, if there is an accent because of my hand position of the fingering, I want to have the accent on the first beat, not on the B. I want to have it on the G sharp. So I just shift to my third finger. I'm in a better position now. And the Bach is continuing again with the same. Again, second finger, not first finger, because then I have to turn my hand. It really doesn't work. So I have to do like this. Again, skip one finger. Again, skip one finger, which is, and then I'm down. So in this line, there are maybe 4 or 5 or 6 exceptions actually. If you compare that with what, for instance, Immanuel Bach or others write in their sources. Gottlob Duck, we've talked about that, great source to read, and very easy to read actually as well. But that you won't find. So Bach is really on purpose giving that difficulty, and it's not just one jump, it's just going from here to really deep in the keyboard. And of course it's rhythmical, but it has this fragment, this theme has a kind of cantabile function as well, of quality. So really difficult. And you shouldn't hear that it is difficult. Let's read J.S.BACH. The small keyboard on my Silbermann makes all these remarks on fingering so useful. Yes, I can imagine that. I can get away with on a Haas, yeah, a Haas has much, not much. My Haas has the octave size of a Haas is wider. But even then, I can tell you, if you play on a Haas clavichord, the sound quality is better on if you stay really on the top of your keys. On a Hubert, it's even easier. But on a harpsichord, it's even again easier because the sound production is easier on the pianoforte as well, but you have to stay on the top of the keyboard. So copying these fingerings like like crazy. Yeah, I've told you last time I'm going to do. There is a project actually to make of the Sinfonias and the Inventions printed edition with my fingerings and some new videos and some new practicing tips and things like that. So that's coming up for the coming months, next year I think. So there you have that. That's one awkward difficulty, and it's written on purpose, I can tell you. You will not find it in other music. Other music, Bach is always difficult. But with Handel or something, it is really modern. He's writing something for his children and his students that's really modern. I think nobody did it in this extent at that time. Bach was really like Beethoven, expanding the possibilities of the keyboard. So there you have here on top 2 and 1, which is, that's a difficult passage as well. So really we have to play with the first finger on the black keys, on the upper keys, which is a kind of awkward position, because to see what happens with the hand has to turn. And why does it have to turn? Because I have to play the G sharp and I cannot play it here. Listen, it doesn't make sense. I have to play. You hear the sound quality. So the D sharp shouldn't be played too short, because the melody is. So that's something what I see often with students also. I don't teach too much these days, but from what I've experienced as a teacher, that these longer notes are being released because of the difficulty of the passage. But if you release those notes too soon, just to play the rest, then you have a cut in the lines, and the polyphonic structure is getting interrupted, and it's getting less clear. I jump with my first finger, so I have a natural accentuation, accentuation also, but there's a kind of cut in between, because I want to have this accent. So that's difficult. Then another passage is here, over there. Listen, watch in the left hand. So it's second finger, I start like that. And then 4, 3, 2. This is something that's really awkward, because you cannot start as you would just with the first finger, because you end on the F sharp with 4, and then going to 1 on the clavichord gives an accent. There's no way to escape that, so we shouldn't do that. From 3 to 1 it's even difficult, but it's better, like on the piano. And then again skip fingers. Last thing I want to share with you, I'll just turn the camera a little bit, it's over here. And actually great passage in a way that it's really very wide. Listen, see my right hand. I have to retain the D sharp, and I can, it would be a compromise to play this D sharp with 1 and glide to the other key, but I personally don't like it. And on these Saxon instruments with a little bit smaller size of keys, you can actually reach this. If your hands are too small, just take it with 1, but it's difficult. And then 3, 4, I should write it. I play it automatically, but okay. And then I just do like this, 3, 2. And if you see that the first time, it looks really awkward. But listen how natural the accentuation is, and again the same thing here. So this piece is full of tricky things, and again Bach certainly did it on purpose. And I'll make more videos on that. There's so much to be told on the keyboard technique that Bach had, and it's going to the partitas. Okay, that was the 6th one only. We have 15 Sinfonias. Can you imagine? And then all the inventions. Okay, there we have the 7th, E minor. Just go a little bit closer. There's nothing on the score already. It's all fresh. And let's see, we just do a few lines. So I'm now just sight reading together with you. then what I first do is indicate what seems to be meant to be played with the left hand. Beautiful. Okay. Okay, so we have to pay attention that it starts with 8 note structure and it continues with 16th note structure, which of course has an influence on the tempo choice. It's important to have an idea, first idea on that. This is a piece I really don't know. I might have heard it sometimes, so again that might sound strange, but such beautiful music. But it's important to have a kind of tempo notion from the beginning because it has a reflection on the fingering. So here, right hand, left hand is rather clear. So what I start and is just, or I just write a fingering the right hand and the left hand separately, or do it together. Okay, that's actually, might sound silly, but that's a difficult, so should I just have the third finger on the E? So I have a natural position to begin with, or should I open my hand here and have a natural position to continue? Or did? So 3, 4, 5, E, F sharp, G. With 3, 4, 5 I don't like, and that's something the fourth finger, it doesn't like to lift because it's a lazy finger, so to say. Third finger is much better, but then I have to open the hand. And what you have to do then is have a little turn with your wrist. Because if you have a stiff hand, it's possible. Listen. Or so the connection with the E is much more beautiful if you have a little slight movement. I had not a discussion, I was talking to a friend and was saying, yeah, Bach, there are indeed sources that describe Bach, who played the organ, and his hands, you couldn't see it move, then you couldn't see them move. But that doesn't contradict the fact that you have a slight movement here, because it's not possible. You have to turn your hand. What it does is just it brings your arm weight from this position to that position. It's essential. That's one of the most essential things in keyboard playing is bringing the weight from one position of your arm from one position to the other. And the only possibility that can be done is by your wrist, actually. I have to make sure that you see what I'm doing. Unrelated question, how often do you tune the clavichord? Yeah, actually not too often. If it's in the same room, of course it's being transported, then the tuning suffers from that. So now the instrument is here permanently for the recordings of the partitas, actually, and I want to have it as long as possible here. So for concerts, actually, I ask J.S.BACH for his instrument, and there is a beautiful one over there. I cannot show it, but I will show it on one of the future videos. It's not his instrument that was here, it's another one. Beautiful instrument. Okay, and really I enjoy it very much. The clavichord changed my life, and I'm planning to make some videos on that. It's an incredible instrument. Okay, back to fingering, boring stuff. Also here in the bass, this octave is unreachable because my hand is in this position. So how do I do that? Of course you have to open a little bit, but it is this movement, my wrist is going to there. And this is going down. It's too far here for this session, but just briefly touch it. Going down, going up. So even before I play the note, it goes up. And then you have this very natural. I'm not doing anything. It's just the division of the weight. It's impossible to do without. And of course the clavichord is very sensitive to that, but I can say on a harpsichord you will have the same impression. Difficulty, I am here with the third finger. I will not continue until I have my fifth finger, because the fifth finger doesn't work. But I have to assist the right hand with this F sharp. Do I really have to do that? It might sound as if I overcomplicated things, but it's really how and it goes slower because I'm explaining to you what otherwise will merely be ideas or thoughts in my head, so that goes much quicker. And certainly in English I have to phrase that very carefully. But these ideas and thoughts really cross my mind when I make fingerings. So if I really need the left hand to assist my right hand, because I have to compromise the left hand then. I'm not going to do that. I consider it then as an exercise of my right hand. If I start with 4, I have to play 2-1, which is not very comfortable, but again it's an exercise. I have to release my hand down here between the F sharp and the B, because if I don't do it, I have to glide over this C sharp to the front of the key to have this position for the other note. Difficult. Just go to 5-3 and then again 4-2, and then I can have my left hand. I can make a little gap here, because the left hand is really important. This gives kind of character. Very cantabile. 3-2, so never in these cases with the first finger on the upper note. 3-2, it feels wonderful. Hello Joseph, nice to see you here. Yeah, and then what to do with thirds? I can just take the same finger, 4-2 on F sharp D, go to the other one, or I can. Yeah, I think this is a little bit more old-fashioned solution, but I think in that time that the articulation was meant. So 5-3. Again, I can change that later. Just the first idea. Again a jump, 5, 3. But if a fingering, yeah, you know when it works only, if it works, only after a few days of playing. But from the start, it should feel natural. Sometimes if a passage is really difficult, and that happens with Bach, and we've seen some in the Sixth Sinfonia just a minute ago, you have to practice and you have to find a solution sometimes by releasing very carefully or just taking a little bit of time, and you will see that often Bach, is of course an excellent keyboard player, he paid attention to that, so it works mostly also in favor of the music. But in a general way, you could say that the fingering should work from itself and should enhance the musical aspects as accentuation and phrasings and things like that. Okay. There is no escape here from 5 and 1. And I say no escape, that is here the little lights. Okay, so don't worry about the noise, it's just the light stand that's hitting my clavichord. The jump from C sharp to F sharp with the fifth finger is not feeling comfortable. And certainly not because it's a kind of theme entrance, you know. So here, that's tricky. So the jump from the C sharp to the F sharp with the fifth finger is difficult because even on the piano, where the upper keys are a little bit wider than on the clavichord on an historical keyboard, it's even difficult because you come here and you have the tendency to glide off the key. So the grip has to be firm, but at the same time you have to suggest, but it's no escape from that. 4 maybe. So I can imagine that here is a 4 and a 5th. I have to see. In both cases, if I choose for the 5th finger, you have to make the suggestion of legato. And how do you do that? Just by releasing very gentle. If you rush to the F sharp, then you have an accent. So you can suggest legato playing by not playing legato. That's really really baroque or 18th century way of playing. And then don't do anything difficult by trying to have your 4th finger on the G. This is a standard passage where you just, and the release again. See if you can see my wrist, I will do it here. It goes up, down, up, but very fast. So feel very gentle. And then okay. So this is an exercise in releasing keys. 5, 5. Or 5, 4. Yeah, Czerny would probably have written in 1820 of sort this fingering. So 5, 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, and then 4, 1, 3, 2. I don't know if that is it works. I don't know. I think it's more historic. It's difficult to say. I wasn't there when Bach played these pieces. But it's just how I feel it, that just shifting. It's a different approach. If you have this legato fingering, that I don't know if Czerny has that, but I'm pretty sure. So 5, 4, 3. Then you have a more legato sense, but at the same time it's not as pronounced as this one. It's like the speech of a traverse flute. Tum, tum, pum, pum, pum. Okay, I have to go in that deeper in that. I'm looking on the clock. It's 10:15, so we have to practice the second one. I really want to do that with you. We continue with that next week. I think there's a lot of things to be told, and I might go through the piece a little bit more than I do now. And again, it seems to be overcomplicated a little bit if I am just sharing out loud with you my first impressions, but it's really like it works. So the passages like that, that's really something I really have to decide on, because the fingering here has an impact on the way of playing. Okay, let's go to the second one if you agree, because that's a difficult one. So beautiful. We've gone through that last week, and let's take my tuning hammer. Okay, see what it's good for. And let's see how that goes. So we have made the fingering for that. I did actually up front before we started the sessions, and now we did practice last week, if I remember well, and see what happened with the piece now. Okay, if it was not for this live stream, I would have stopped way earlier. This is a typical example of, if I practice music like this, there is something really not right, and I guess it has to do with the articulation of the motive. I don't think it has to do a lot with tempo. One of the things, let me explain it like this. What I really feel at this moment that is going wrong with my performance now, and again, it's not a concert performance, I'm practicing. So you're witnessing really my day-to-day practice here, with the only difference that I'm not talking too much when I'm practicing alone. It's too heavy. It's too heavy. And this is a 12/8 bar structure, which means that it should equals almost 4/4. Rom, pom, pom, pom. But the easy thing to do is speed up the tempo. The music will feel lighter, but the effect will be different as well. And the effect here is C minor. It's not too dramatic, but it's really melancholic. And the effect should be there, and it is in this. So it's really fragile. And the difficulty is because you have all these 8 notes, it's getting very heavy. So what to do about that? So sometimes this goes like nothing, and there is a kind of click, but sometimes I have to look for that. most often. Difficult here. Dum, bum. Same as in the E minor. Down, up. But not on the left hand. Release here. Dum, pum, pum. Very gentle. So I'm looking now really to make this piece a little bit lighter in 8 notes. Which you can do by playing them a little bit shorter, but as also a little bit softer, less accentuated in the beginning. So now leave out the accentuation a little bit. Oh, make the theme entrances much clearer. And then here. Pom 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 pom. Very articulated 16th notes. I think that this piece can have them. Yeah, the question is if I should make these dotted quarter notes that short. There's nothing to do about it. I have to shout to here. Theme entrance. Some way or another, it gains in structure. I don't have the feeling anymore that it's really too steady. I try it again, because these lines are the difficult ones. Difficult. That's way too aggressive in the left hand. And this is an indicator also for me that the tempo shouldn't be too much faster, because if you play that faster, this left hand inevitably becomes on the clavichord. I think on any other instrument, really a point of energy that this piece cannot have, I think. Also here, this should be really an answer. So there is a moment of rest here with the lowest D. Can you see that? Yeah, this one. And this rest is really essential, because it is as if, and again, as the first idea that I have now, first impression, that this left hand actually has said everything it wanted to say here. Then the right hand comes and it says, oh no, I have to add something to that. So this is a really important entrance. So it can be a little bit more dynamic there in this second part. Keep this light movement. Yeah, and that of course is genius. I mean, this is so beautiful. You have this 16th notes line going to each other all the time, discussing. And then this moment of 8 notes. Without wrong notes. Something else already, and it's of course very difficult. That's okay, but then, and I have to change fingers. But and it should be played very fluently, I think, because this lowest note is so important, because there starts the movement towards cadence and then ding dong da dum bum. Very strong key. It's going towards the heaven, really, and then down. That's immense. Okay, yeah, you see this piece is developing, and that's wonderful. And I sometimes pay a little bit less attention to the notes, and then it goes wrong. And this is quite difficult. Also, these lines that I have to look at very carefully and practice that. That's really tricky. But it develops, and the conclusion that I have from this little practicing session, I have to watch. Oh yeah, this 10:30. Shouldn't make this too long. If I'm doing things like this, I can practice this for 2 hours. So I won't bother you with that too much, because you would sit here in the night, I think, then. But it's really great if you continue to play this, you come in a kind of concentration or focus level that's essential to get this movement. The movement is so important. It's, if you talk on tempo is something else than movement. Movement is the essence, is the foundation, is everything. Because if you change a little bit to that, it changes everything. It changes accentuation, it changes dynamics, it changes phrasings, everything. Just a little bit faster. And by playing it often, one version after the other, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, it develops incredibly. It's if you do it like that, it's just my experience, and you continue with that the next day, it's really you have to start all over again, because there's not too much left then of that great feeling of focus and concentration. But then you have to build it up again and again and again, and after weeks, months, years, with the partitas is 3-4 years, you start get the feeling that it's there forever. And that's the point, that the music starts to balance everything. So that everything started to be in balance. That's what I want to say. Okay. So I'm glad I did this second one with you, and I'm sorry for talking so much and out loud, but I hope you that's okay with you, but that's how it works with me. And doing it together with you, I must say, it's really great, because I've played the second one a few times today, and I was really struggling with that. But just talking with you is shaping my ideas so much better. So thank you for being here. Okay, it's 10:30. I think it's time to close. We didn't do the third one, the fourth one, and we will see next week. So week by week we will see how it develops, and it's a fifth episode now, so maybe we'll have 10 or a little bit more, and we see how we do that. There comes a point when we have to close, I think, the whole sessions, unless you force me, so to say, or convince me to do more sessions. I don't want to take too much of your time. That's actually the reason I say to you with only these Sinfonias, because next project for these live practicing hours would be Mozart. I would really love to do that, the fourth München Sonata, but anyway, we have to finish this, and just, this goes online on YouTube on Friday, and you can leave comments or send me a mail. Thank you for your comments, Melinus. Yeah. Okay. And it's in English. Sometimes it goes okay, and sometimes I struggle a little bit with really expressing what I feel or think. Okay, if you have a question, I'm reading them now, and if not, it was great to hang out with you here. There are some ideas that I'm developing for these live sessions, but that's for later. Let's find our voice now in these sessions. And okay, we see each other next week again, hopefully. There is no live stream, I can tell you this now, on November 6th, because we are returning then from 1 week holiday. I'm looking really forward to that. And are we returning on Sunday? I think we'll arriving here at 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the evening, and that will be impossible to set up the live stream. Okay. Boys and girls, I don't know if there are any girls here, but thank you for watching, and hopefully see you next time again. Bye.